All right, I want to start the morning with a warm-up exercise, all right? Because everyone is probably just like, all right? Okay. Everyone show me your hands. Show me your hands. Whoa! Okay, that didn't really work out. Nature's against me. Show me your hands. All right? I want you to take your hands and I want you to reach them all the way up to the sky. You are touching the clouds as high as you can. Look straight up. You should feel the stretch in your tummy. Feels so good. Stretch it as much as you can. Oh, it feels so good. And now reach all the way down to the ground. All right? Keep stretching. All right, one more time. All the way to the sky. Come on, guys. Make your stretching noises. Oh, yeah. And then all the way down to the ground.
Oh, my legs ache.
There you go. Clap it up. Good job. That was you. That was all you guys. All right? Okay. My name is Matthew Grossman, and I survived on February 2005. February 25, 2005. No, it didn't happen in a moment where everything was just all right again, or a day the doctors cheered, "Congratulations, you're cancer-free!" And there definitely wasn't any balloons or cake. It was the night I was finally taken out of Hopkins Hospital in a wheelchair and allowed to go home. I felt too dizzy to walk yet, but it was the first drop of rain on my forehead, the first gust of wind I could remember, because I'd been inside for over an entire month. It all started one night after middle school. I was doing my homework in my room, and suddenly I felt like my head was going to crack in two. I hadn't been getting sleep for the past couple of days because physics class was getting really hard, and I had been headachy for most of the day, so I figured it was just stress. It happened again the next night, though, and it was worse. I couldn't eat, sleep, do homework. It was so painful. So I did what any kid would do. I told my mom. My mom said, "Take it to the doctor." The doctor said, "Take it to the radiologist." The radiologist said, "Take it back to the doctor." So on a cold winter night in early January, I found myself sitting in a doctor's office, silent and shaking as he flipped through my scans, stopping over and over on one slide, utterly silent. Suddenly, his voice came out as if it were shackled. There seems to be something here." And then it happened for the first time. I heard the word cancer. Cancer. Not that I hadn't heard it before. My grandpa had cancer, and I had heard of older people getting it. But me? I was 13 years old. This couldn't be possible. I was supposed to be in school, playing soccer, playing guitar. My life had just started. Was it going to end soon? I was diagnosed with a non-germinomatous germ cell tumor, NGGCT for short, and I made it through, partly because of family, partly because of friends, partly because I found a way to make cancer positive, or at least authentic, partly because of music, partly because of meditation, and partly because of toxic chemicals injected in my veins, radioactive beams shot at my head, and needles and knives that removed my brain tumor. That night I was driven to Hopkins and started my journey. In the next year and a half, I underwent an initial treatment plan of 3 months of chemotherapy and an extra month round, proton beam radiation, a relapse where the cancer started growing again, surgery to remove the tumor, and 2 bone marrow transplants. But that's not what I've come to talk to you about. You can look that up online or in any medical dictionary. What I came to tell you is that, just like in life, surviving cancer came with light and darkness. There were a lot of lows. I remember showering in the hospital bathroom a couple weeks after diagnosis, running shampoo through my thick black hair at one moment, and the next moment grabbing clump after black clump, trying to put it back on my head as if it were derooted from my scalp like petty weeds in my hands. There were highs too, though. At a certain point, I said I'd had enough losing my hair I'd rather shave it off myself. So I did, and I've been fortunate to be able to pull off the Vin Diesel look pretty well. I even had a long black-haired wig at one point that made me look like a Latin lover. But even then, I chose to go bald because I wanted to feel the wind blowing across my head. I also remember waking up one morning after a whole night of chemotherapy during my first bone marrow transplant. I turned to my mother. Her voice sounded like it always did, but her words somehow were strangely different, like they were just out of reach. I sensed more anger in her voice as I picked up my guitar and started playing. Then I heard, and I realized at that moment that I was going deaf on account of my chemotherapy. I tried over and over again to tune my guitar back, but the notes were lost. Holding back the tears, I threw my guitar and blasted some Ben Folds in my ears. It was pain, sunny days and rain. I knew you'd feel the same way. Everybody knows it hurts to grow up. And that's what the next year was. A lot of really sunny days and a lot of really rainy days, as my hearing aids became less and less able to make up for my hearing loss. This darkness lasted for a little over a year. The light did come, though, in small pieces. The next year I came back to school as a deaf individual with hearing aids. Hearing with no background noise was easy, but hearing in noise, which is virtually everywhere, became impossible for me as my hearing continued to deteriorate. During this time, I lost some of my friends who couldn't deal with it. But several of my friends also stuck close, and I started to realize which were true friends, and which were really not. In short, I had to learn to overcome many small losses, like not catching a conversation, standing out, having some friends not get it, and cling to the big victories, like finding some of my closest friends, who are still my closest friends today, making it to a year cancer-free, doing well in school, and staying happy and healthy. The greatest light came in 10th grade when we realized my hearing aids were not helping enough anymore, and my family and I decided that it was a good idea for me to get a cochlear implant, which is right here. I see a little magnet on my head. It doesn't actually go inside my head, it's just sort of like I still remember the night before the surgery, sitting in the car crying with my mom. The surgery would leave me completely deaf in my left ear. And what if the machine didn't work? What if I was left in a worse position than I already was with my hearing aids, which was horrible? I went in for the surgery to implant the inner device the next day, and had to endure a week with absolutely no hearing in my left ear. Then on January 27, 2007, my activation date, I came into Hopkins and the doctors literally turned my ear back on. I sat there with my head hung low and suddenly everything turned on. The whole room, my breathing, the doctor's voice. I walked out that afternoon and heard birds chirping for the first time in over a year. It was one of the best days of my life. So now, when I remember that night I realized I was deaf, I always remember the day my hearing was turned back on. After all, one could not have happened without the other. I guess you could say everything happens for a reason, but this really isn't even true. The truth is that with luck, perseverance, and positivity, you create a reason that turns your experience into something meaningful. My cancer was a test of my mind and my body. My cancer was an opportunity to see how beautiful the simple things really are. My cancer was a chance to see what really matters. A chance to bond with my family. A chance to gain some perspective. My cancer was a chance to feel alive. That is really what got me through cancer. That is how I survived it, and that is how I survive it today. And now the question comes to why you are here. I could give you a reason, but who am I to tell you why you came to this event? Some of you may be cancer survivors like me. Some may have lost friends, family members, co-workers, and some may just be here to attend one of the biggest Clark events of the year. However, I can tell you why I am here. I am here because I know, and I want to make sure you know as well, that cancer does not and should not always represent something sad, death, tragedy, loss. Cancer carries with it a struggle as well as a blessing, a life-threatening and a life-changing experience for all involved. A time to grieve and a time to raise spirits and inspire those around you. A time to realize what you've lost, as well as what you still have. It is in this light that I invite you guys to join me in kicking cancer's ass. So we've got many different paper mache, I can't see them, but they're down there, and they represent all different types of cancer. This one that I'm holding, this gray tumor, if you will, it represents brain cancer. All right? So I'm going to start off the kicking cancer relay. And don't kick them at anyone. Let me just point that out. Kick them sort of, you know, play safe.